get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Start my day. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. A, B, C, 1, 2, 3. Drink some water, brush my teeth. Get out of bed and I stretch. Bed in my hair is a mess. Look through my clothes for a fit. Anything I do is drip. Feel like a kid when I'm tick-tocking. I still keep it real as it is. I show my age, I don't switch often. I'm just as a dad as it gets. Try taking naps with my kids talking. I'm guessing this life how it is. And I can't wait for the weekend. Keep jammies on like I'm a kid. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Okay, I know that today'll be a good day. Feel good, feel great, can't complain. Look out my window, see birds and planes. Sun's out, some clouds, it might rain. Siblings on my nerves again. Summertime, go for a swim. Wintertime, go grab a sled. Spring, I might need an umbrella. Fall back in school with my friends. Attitude change like the weather. My mom tell me it never ends. Like clocks, we evolve in a circle. Every 12 months we do it again. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs. Eat some breakfast, milk and eggs. Brush my teeth up, wash my face. Throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, get up, stretch my legs.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the lab. May 12th. What's up, brother?
Hey, man. I said, look, what do you think about, upping our game? Upping the game to another level.
I wasn't playing,
huh? Boys do out there on the West Coast, I see.
I wasn't playing, brother. Look,
we got a whole new look.
Yes, sir.
We got a whole new everything, man.
It's gangster, brother. Look, somebody better recognize.
Look, before we get started, my name is Corey Tallboy Sanders. Y'all know I don't give out my government name. Y'all know I don't.
You gave it out this time.
Because of this new look. That's my co-host, Mr. James Hicks. Go ahead, introduce yourself, sir.
I appreciate you. James Hicks here, coming to you in Northern California. This is what we do. Welcome to the lab. Me and Tallboy bring you the consumer technology news, and we try to break it down for you. So this is all right, man. We decided to step up the game. We want to go ahead and put both feet in the pool now, and I think I'm feeling really good about what we got going on right now. We definitely are starting to graduate. I hope folks are enjoying even the visuals of what we always provide. Great content. I hope the visuals are there as well. So,
before we get started into the show, we had this conversation over the weekend, and we decided to step our game up. And what we mean by that, not only are you seeing it with the overlays, but we also have an Instagram account for the lab. So please come over to the Lab Tech Show. So it's THE Lab Tech, the Lab Tech Show. We also have a Twitter, the Lab Tech Show, and then I think you created a Facebook, correct?
Yeah, let me tell you something. So go on, let's get focused here, right? Everything on social is the Lab Tech Show. Uh,
Everything.
we got Twitter, IG, Facebook. We've got email. I'll have everything scrolling across the screen, but it just makes sense, right? Again, instead of us pushing everything through our personal profiles, we're working with so many brands now. We're having these types of conversations, so it just makes sense for us to go ahead and level it up and do it the right way. So
Yeah, I'm glad we were able to do that, and like you said, just taking it to another level just makes people see us more, take us a little bit more serious. So hopefully you'll enjoy the conversation. Hopefully you will engage with us. Please post your comments in the chat boxes, and we will try and get them to fire across. And without further ado, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started because last week we were talking about iOS and we were talking about Apple. And if you did not update their new privacy disclaimer, then you were going to start losing features. And I guess Apple wasn't. I guess those features weren't playing around. So WhatsApp is now saying users will lose app features until they accept the new privacy policy. James, I know you accepted it, but
I
what do you
did.
think about it?
Look, man, I told y'all thought I was playing last week, right? If you have that 14.5 update on your iPhone, and it's now starting to send up that opt-in screen for accepting privacy policy, and if you don't, there's going to be some applications that are going to stop working. I think the first one I said was Facebook, but WhatsApp is part of Facebook, and here we go, right? So now users are starting to see degraded service possible from these platforms and from these social media apps that they use. So WhatsApp is the first one to come out and say, you know what, you may not get the exact same type of experience that you're used to if you don't go ahead and opt into this privacy policy notification. Told y'all.
Now, yeah, you did. Now it said at first it was postponed. It was postponed at first, and they said now WhatsApp will disable the app functionalities until users accept the new privacy terms. Um, but it said it would not delete or deactivate the accounts of those who do not accept the new terms. While this still remains true, the company has now stated it will somewhat punish users who do not accept the new privacy policies. And basically, starting May 15th, which is the end of this week, you will eventually lose access to some of WhatsApp's features until you accept the new terms.
Hmm.
And those instances could be users will first lose the ability to access the chat list. Then you'll lose the audio and video calls will stop working, and the user will no longer receive any notifications of new messages of WhatsApp.
Why have the
So
app, right? Why have the app then, right?
now here's the funny thing: if you use WhatsApp and you're watching, put I use WhatsApp or just say I use the app. But I think the problem that you have is people in America probably don't use WhatsApp as much as people in Europe or abroad. Because when you look at the abroad users, they don't have phone lines and they don't have cell services the way we use T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T. They use this app, and this is how they do most of their communication. Whereas here in the United States, it's like, hey, it's a cool app and it's great to talk to friends. It's great to send video files, large video files over 25 megs over the internet. But it's not till you get abroad where you really start to see that effect.
Yeah. So let me interject with you right there because I think like what Laura Williams is saying, right? She uses it. I also use WhatsApp as well, and it's mainly for encrypted business accounts, right? So not just for conversations like between me, you, my parents, or anything like that, but there are benefits of WhatsApp, and but just like you're saying, a lot of overseas from the U.S., it's probably the most popular messaging application platform out there. So this is a huge issue, primarily again for folks overseas, and primarily also some business accounts as well. Because WhatsApp has one app that's just regular messaging, then they have one called a business account as well that allows you to send encrypted messages. So there's going to be kind of the catch-22 of folks who don't opt into to the service. So
Now, but remember, we're talking consumer tech. So, I mean, I get it. You're on another level. You know, you use that big boy level with Hickman Media and the other company you work for.
yes, sir.
You know, and I understand. But I mean, remember, we're talking about consumers. And as a consumer, m- most people here in the United States, they probably won't be affected by it. And this is my opinion. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. So correct me if I'm wrong. But when you look at abroad users versus US based users, how many people really use the app? Would you say it's more abroad users that use WhatsApp?
Yeah. But you know what? And I'm gonna pivot real quick because there's a comment here, and it may have been put in jest, but you know what? There's truth in this, and this is kind of a social aspect of it. People using WhatsApp to be aware of the cops in America. Look, again, that's a social impact statement there, and it's very true. And again, that's an aspect, and that's a reason that a lot of folks are using WhatsApp today as well. So we didn't even think about that when we were bringing up the story and thinking about the privacy policy and the issues right there. But just the social unrest issues. People are using WhatsApp because it's encrypted and it allows you to have private conversations and somewhat secure conversation as you're out having these protests and marches and things like that, and again being aware of your surroundings. So that's a really good point. I'm actually, Chelsea, I'm glad you brought that up, and I'm glad we talked about that. Back
That's
to your
Chelsea Foster. She be acting like she know a little bit about that. That's my homegirl right there.
okay.
So I guess the question, Chelsea, is how do the cops be aware of cops in America? Can you please in the comments tell us what you mean so we can kind of dissect this a little bit more? Now, what I have seen is that if you don't want to use or accept the privacy policy, which you're probably going to have to just go ahead and say yes to it anyway, but they're using other softwares or other apps such as Signal and Telegram. And I think you mentioned right before the show that one of those companies is owned by Facebook anyway. So, I mean, eventually you're going to have to play by somebody's rules. So it's almost kind of like a play by the rules or don't use it at all. And
Exactly,
I think
exactly.
I think that's kind of where we're going with these big boy companies. It's you could be the smaller company, and you'll hear us talk about this later on in the show. You could be the smaller company, but big bank take little bank. Play by our rules or don't use it at all.
I don't know. I think that, to be honest with you, and I know I'm off screen right now, but I'm looking at something. I'm trying to do some research here. Um, I think the consumer is going to win on this, to be honest with you. I think it's going to come to a point where the consumer is going to go and start complaining and probably deinstalling a lot of these applications, maybe even unsubscribing from recurring subscriptions that they may have on some of the premium apps. And Apple's going to have to come to a realization. These social media applications are going to have to come to a realization and have a privacy centric and focused conversation, because it looks like we're losing right now. But I think as we continue to maintain our stance on, we're using these applications for not just connectivity with our friends, family, relations, things like that, but as Chelsea was saying, our public safety as well. So we're maintaining utilizing these applications. There's going to become a reckoning to where Facebook, Apple, all of these applications are going to have some type of discussion about how much is too much, right? How much of an overreach can an Apple do? Can a Google do, especially to my usability? I've already purchased the phone. I now have either purchased this application as well if it's a premium application. Get out of my way. Right. Let me utilize this functionality to maintain my circles and stay in contact with my social sphere, but don't try to tell me what to do all the time. Yeah, have some guidelines and have some regulations and some framework, but this is starting to get very, very deep in terms of privacy conversation, very deep in terms of overreaching from a government perspective, from a regulatory perspective. who knows where it goes, but I really hope and I think that the consumer is going to eventually win on this because we're gonna end up removing ourselves from some of these applications and maybe going somewhere else. So.
Well, let me ask you this, because when we all join these services, who really reads those privacy details? You know, I'm just being honest. Who
Yeah.
reads it? But apparently, this was something so big with the 14.5 update that people are like, no. So, what was so big in that 14.5 update that makes people say, I don't want to do the update?
That was a bigger thing, right? And see, and I have to remember because I've been running 14 Fire for a while. I'm part of the Apple Developers Program. The ability to unlock your iPhone if you have an Apple Watch on. So that was a big thing as well. So if you're wearing a mask, you can actually, instead of having to type in your code, you can just have your Apple Watch on and it'll sync and you'll be able to unlock your iPhone from that. That was also a huge thing. But really, the larger piece of code that was entered into 14.5 and deployed out to users was this opt-in, opt-out for privacy. And again, it's one of those things, right? Look, y'all know I'm part of the Apple cult. I've been drinking Steve Jobs Kool-Aid forever. Heck, I got his last iPhone on my wall right there, right, framed and everything. We can go as far as we
Went
want
out
on
and bought
that.
an NFT and everything.
Pretty close. I put a bid in, but I didn't get it. But this is one of those things again where Apple is thinking that they know what you need before you need it, and that's a slippery slope. Think about when they took the headphone jack out of the iPhone. Folks were up in arms about that, but now no one's
Oh,
missing it. Everyone's all wireless.
oh,
A lot
I
of people.
still have one. I'm one of the only ones who still have a
You
phone
part of
that
the
has that.
minority, brother. You part of the minority.
Right. Well, but like I said, I know what I need, and I need it to make it work. But I
Yeah.
know that my next phone probably won't have it because, like you said, Apple started the trend, and now everyone else is starting to follow suit.
Yeah. So that's my catch on that, and again, I'm in the middle. I'm really championing for the consumer on this as opposed to the big organization, and again, there you go with that Minute Maid, man, throwing me off kilter here. Uh, we'll see how this plays out, but this is a significant story. We brought it to you last week. I don't think folks really understood the ramification of this, but here we go now with the first kind of major application, global application that folks use from a social media perspective, being WhatsApp. That's saying you will start losing functionality if you don't just click on this opt-in option. So there you go.
Wow. I would love to see how it transpires over the next couple of weeks or months because
It's
we're
gonna
going
be
into
interesting,
summer.
brother. It's gonna be
Yeah.
interesting.
Let me ask you, Google is tripping.
Shouts out to
That
Google, boy. They doing their thing, huh?
Google is tripping. I
Yeah.
mean, if you have cut the cord, you are familiar with Fire Stick or Roku.
Hmm.
And basically, Google is basically saying they're going against Roku by adding the YouTube TV to the main YouTube app. Um,
I
you
got a
you
Roku
just
TV behind me. I haven't even checked to see if YouTube TV is part of it yet. But yeah.
so actually they're actually cutting it out. Um, and I kind of let's talk about the story first. YouTube users will start seeing a go to YouTube TV option in the main YouTube app over the next few days. When they select that, they'll be then switched over to the standard YouTube TV user experience. This option is coming to Roku devices first, where it's currently most needed, but will also come to YouTube on other platforms as well. Basically, Google stuffed the YouTube TV app into the YouTube itself, a solution that seems unlikely to make Roku very happy.
That's a good way to
And
put it too.
Google says it's still working to come to an agreement with Roku to ensure continued access to YouTube TV for our mutual customers. And it notes that YouTube TV app remains usable for those who already have it installed. So here's the problem that I have. Google is basically saying you have to play by our terms And if you don't play by our terms, we're gonna pull YouTube out of your software or out of your business that you're using us for. So it's not YouTube that Roku has the problem with. They have the problem with Google. And
True.
basically they're saying, hey, these are one of our kids. And if you don't want to play nice with mommy or daddy, then guess what? The kids can't play. That's the way I'm receiving this. Am I saying this right or am I saying this wrong?
I think you're right, right, and it's at the parent level, right? It's at the alphabet level, right? The whole umbrella organization of Google slash YouTube and all of that. It's at the end of the day, we know what it's all about. It's about them dollars and cents. It's about licensing. It's about that. So Google, YouTube, Alphabet, all of them. You can say each of them synonymously. What was the statement you said? Snuck the app out and rolled it into YouTube. That's what they did. So now you don't need a whole nother application. You don't really need to worry about the limitations of Roku and the platform in and of itself. Now if you have YouTube TV or YouTube Premium, all you gotta do is fire up Google, and you've got your service. So I liken it to the whole side loading of games that Apple and what's the company? Okay, the one that they're in court with right now. I'm asking you about an Apple company.
Epic Games.
And Epic Games, right? So the whole Fortnite thing, right? Side loading and allowing users to pay outside of Apple for the content and for the subscription and things of that nature. Alphabet slash Google slash YouTube has just found a way to take their property, since they own all of these platforms, and move it to and consolidate it into another location. It's a David and Goliath thing. I think that Google is going to win in this situation because they are so large and they control so much of the internet. Really, I mean, they are the only search engine out there that matters. Yeah, there's DuckDuckGo, and I think Yahoo is still fledgling around somewhere, but there is no fighting someone like a Google unless you take them to Congress and then try to break them up like we did Ma Bell back in the day before I had gray hair. So that's the statement there. If you have the service, you're not losing anything. If you have a Roku TV, don't worry about it because you can just download and install the YouTube app, and you still have your YouTube TV.
Basically, it's saying we have simply. This is Roku speaking. They're saying we have simply asked Google to stop their anti-competitive behavior of manipulating
Bless them.
users' search results to their unique financial benefit and to stop demanding access to sensitive data that no other partner on our platform receives today. In response, Google has continued its practice of blatantly leveraging its YouTube monopoly to force an independent company into an agreement that is both bad for consumers and bad for fair competition. So, I mean, I think that's where the problem is. Basically, if you don't play by our rules and you don't, Google's saying, I'm trying to get this money. If you want to search for a movie, you want to search for a streaming show,
That's it.
TV show, if you want to search for whatever, you need to come through us.
That's it.
And if you don't come through us, Roku is saying, "Hey, we're an independent company. This is the way I'm receiving it. We're an independent company, and you have to use and play by our rules." And Google's like, "No, you're going to come to YouTube. No, excuse me, you're going to come to Google first. Then we're going to direct you. And if you don't do it this way, then we're just going to pull our stuff, and then you find your own way to play."
Crazy.
So,
Crazy.
so is that fair? Basically, like the last story, play by our rules.
Yeah.
Update our new privacy policy. If you want this to be on, if you want to integrate our service with your service, play by our rules.
Play by our rules. And just like Laura's saying, it's going to go to somebody's court. Like I said, it's going to go to Congress. It's going to go to somebody's court. So here's something funny. No, it's funny. And here I am pivoting from our topic, but we got 3 minutes and 19 seconds left. You see the countdown timer up here at the top, brother.
Let's see. Drop
So
James Bond for me.
got, okay, I got to find where it is. I had to find out. I got to look over here at my roadcaster and find out where it is. So I just signed up for YouTube Premium today. Add another
That's
subscription service, but I'm gonna drop Spotify. Even though we got a story about Spotify, but I've got enough music sharing platforms. But I signed up for YouTube Premium so I could have the ability to legitimately download YouTube videos. I'm using a couple of browser plugins right now that probably shouldn't be
we just
using,
there.
but
Get to the point. You're gonna get a shutdown over here on the lab because of what
pretty
you're
much
doing.
right. We trying to
Come on,
trying to
you got
stay
2 minutes
legit.
and 45 seconds. Come on.
I'm just saying that I signed up for YouTube Premium today, so I'm gonna find out exactly how nice and beneficial and effective this particular platform is. So again, I've added a new platform, a new subscription to my toolbox, but I'm dropping Spotify. We'll see what happens. So next week we'll come and I'll bring it up
There it is. Matt Haas, what's up, man? How you doing?
in the
This
building.
guy wants this guy wants to step his game up and go over to YouTube Premium. I see you.
I did. I upgraded about 30 minutes before we went online, so I haven't even had a chance to check it out yet. So we'll see.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, look, we didn't even need the full 8 minutes
I
for
love
that.
it. I love it.
All right. Spotify. They are
Didn't I
really
just say something about Spotify too? Didn't I just talk some trash about them? I should be ashamed of
but,
myself.
but, but they're up, but you got to think they're up in their game.
Yeah.
And Spotify has been in the news over the last few weeks. So, I mean, now they're finding ways to make you love the podcast even more, um, or use their service more. Um, I'm gonna let you tell the story. Go ahead, because these are your stories. So, you want to go do it, or you want me to go ahead and get into it?
Yeah, so again, here I am talking about how I'm dropping Spotify, and we're talking about it. But again, this is timely, relevant news of the day. So, and there are so many people that use Spotify. They've added some social sharing capabilities within the platform, which allow you to more easily share content with folks that are in your social circle. Man, try to say that 3 or 4 times, right? You're able to actually grab clips from a particular podcast or a show and share that out more effectively through email, through social networking like Instagram and Facebook and things like that. You're also able to create I'm gonna call them audiograms, right? They have a platform called Canvas, which really allows you to grab the audio piece of a podcast or a show and share that across your Instagram story or your Facebook story, things like that. So they're making it easy for the user to disseminate and share information out about a particular show or album that they really like with folks around them. So I think it's available to everyone. So even if you're premium versus a free user, they'll allow you to do that. Which look, that just makes sense. And I with the recent earnings announcement that Spotify had, with them losing traction with new subscribers, making the experience much better for the folks that they have right now, I think this will help them to actually attract additional users as well moving forward. So easily sharing and disseminating information. Hey, I like this podcast. This like the Michelle Obama podcast. That's one reason why I went with Spotify Premium from the get go, and because Spotify is also in the Tesla, so I upgraded to Premium as well. But now you can easily share that with folks that are in your circle across your social media platform. So I like it. I'm not going to use it anymore
This
because
is what I like about it.
I
And no, go ahead, finish your statement.
I said I like it, but I'm no longer going to use it because I'm about to cancel my subscription in like 24 hours. But hey, it's all good.
This is what I like about it, the timestamp sharing.
Yeah,
Now,
it's
that's
like
the
YouTube
part that
chapters, right? Think about it. It's like YouTube chapters, but
go right to the
for
part.
yep, yep.
Go right to your part. Go right to the section and say, "Hey, I want you to listen to this part right here." So you don't have to listen to that whole video. I have taken it or made it a point over the last couple of weeks that if you go back and watch any of the lab shows, I have made it a point to make sure we have timestamps on these videos. It's very time consuming, but I mean, doesn't it
It's
make
huge.
sense to say, "Hey, At the 25, 34-second mark, this is when they start talking about this, as opposed to making you go through the whole video just to catch that part. We live in a microwave society. People don't want to do that. So basically, with this new timestamp for Spotify, basically you can just make sure your friends tune in, at that one part you think that they'll love. And basically you just share it to them and they can just switch the share feature at the current playtime and then select where you want to share the content to, and there they go. Then the one on the receiving end just needs to tap the share link and jump right in and start listening. That's that's what I do with YouTube,
Yeah.
at least with the lab. I've taken it apart to say, if we're going to take this show to another level, people that are on LinkedIn, business owners or consumers, and they want to, say, hey, what is this thing that they're talking about with Spotify? I can literally say, go to this timestamp and you can just hear that. You don't have to, they may not care about, what Google is doing or what WhatsApp is doing. They only care about what Spotify is doing, and they can go right into that subject matter and get the content. And if they want to stay and listen longer, they can. And if they don't, they keep it moving.
I agree. I agree. We've got some comments in the queue here, but I think someone may actually know what we're going to talk about next. So Laura, I see your comments. We see your comments, but it's almost like you're reading our mind about one of the next stories. So I'm not going to
Well,
put them on the screen.
I promoted it
That's
very
true.
heavily.
That's true. You were big view. You.
Yeah, I tried. I tried. I said, you know what? You've been getting on me with this iOS and tall boy jump over here to iOS
I'm
and
gonna buy you a Mac one of these days. When the world opens up and I can come back to Atlanta, or maybe in January when we go to CES, I'm gonna take you to the Apple Store in Vegas and I'm gonna buy you a Mac Mini. It's recorded. And I can't take it back now. I just said it online.
I'm gonna receive the gift.
You better take these blessings, boy. The Lord is trying to give you
I
these
will.
flowers.
Right, because J5 Create is gonna say, tall boy, you have a Mac Mini now. We have some products that we want you to try out. So hopefully in January, I'll have a Mac Mini.
I know you already were ahead of the game and booked some hotel rooms, and you were very much on point with that. So the rest of us need to get our stuff in a row. We was look at it. See, folks are already cheering that you gonna come on over to the right side. It's all good, brother. I'll get you. You keep your Android phone. I'm just gonna bring you over to Apple.
My only question is, does it have a M1 processor in it?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I'm not gonna give you nothing
I can
old,
probably
dude.
I can stream and edit with the Mac Mini and all that.
That's what I'm running right now, baby. That's what the lab is being powered by. Ecamm and the Apple M1. Yeah.
I can't say anything
Don't
because
say nothing.
my program and my software was
Mm.
not working today. It was not playing nice, but if anything, this is all set up for you. So I'm gonna play nice. I was not happy before the show started. I had a 5-minute rant because my software was not playing right with his Mac products. And then he says, "Well, why after you get through with your rant, is you done or is you through?"
Yeah.
And then he said, "Let me show you some new toys that we got here." And with the thing moving across the background, he said, "Oh, not only that, but look at this."
Hey, I hit you with that smoke, didn't I, boy? I hit you with this WebM and these animations. Matt Haas, I hope you in the building and Sammy Cool. Y'all see what we doing here. We done stepped up. We got some WebM graphics going. God, dog it.
Yep. So
Let's get
Clubhouse.
focused. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. I need to hold on. Y'all know what I need to do. Claim my stock. It's some Nvidia stock tonight, y'all. I'm already logged in, so it's not gonna take me a long time. Got it.
Okay.
Shouts
Time
out
out.
to Stash. Got my Nvidia stock.
Before we go to the next segment,
Yeah,
it was brought to my attention
yeah.
that everyone does not understand what this stash stock is. So can you please break down the stash stock that you do every week, that you give them a shameless plug that no
I
one,
do, don't
only
I?
you
I
are
do.
selfishly taking advantage of? Can you explain to people how the process works. Do they have to have a buy-in for Stash, or is this automatically given to anybody with with an account with Stash? Can you just tell people what you're doing,
All
so
right.
then that way others can get involved with it as well?
Like what in the
So
world is he
your
talking about
pro-
every day at 5 o'clock Pacific time? What is he doing on Wednesday every day at 5 o'clock? So I utilized the platform Stash for some of a portion of my investments, right? Stock trades and things like that. So Stash allows you to buy EFTs. It allows you to buy mutual funds. It now actually allows you to buy crypto as well. I've invested a little bit in crypto just to be on the aggressive side to see what it's all about. But every Wednesday, 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, they do what's called a stash stock party, and you log in, you hit the button, and if you already have an account, you can claim a fraction of whatever that particular stock is that they're having for the party that day. So tonight's stock was Nvidia. So I got a portion of the allocation of the Nvidia stock that they're giving out tonight. At the end of the party, within an hour, they'll calculate how many people participated. They'll calculate, all of those numbers, and then they'll tell me how much of a fraction of a stock that I got. I'm not getting a lot because again, I'm not putting any skin in the game. I'm only clicking on the link that says I'm part of the Stash stock party. So I may get one share of it, but again, it's now in my portfolio. I can continue to build on that position if I want to, but it's free stock. And a lot of the stocks that they give out, or a lot of the stocks that they have within this party, some of them give dividends. So again, you keep accumulating. It's just another means of income. It's another tool within the toolbox from a financial wellness perspective. So I really like Stash for that. I'm not sure if Robinhood, E-Trade, Schwab, some of the other platforms do something like this.
where
Maybe they do, but I've been using Stash and I've had success with it. I've turned a handful of my family onto it as well. I love it. My son Isaiah wants to get into it and wants to start investing a little bit in cryptocurrency, and we're going to put a couple of bucks into his account and let him at least start understanding the financial marketplace and investing versus trading. So having that conversation. But yeah, I'm a huge proponent for multiple streams of income, and I'm a huge proponent of something like Stash, which allows you to accumulate different pieces of financial equity on a weekly basis without having to put a whole lot of effort into it. So there you go.
So basically, you said it was a dividend. So full. It's not the full share. It's just a portion
It's
or
a
a
fraction.
fraction
Yeah, it's a fraction of a stock because I'm not sure what Nvidia is trading at for one particular share. Right now it may be I don't know.
whatever it is you need. Whatever it is, Nvidia is a great stock to have.
Yes, it is.
So
Yes, it is.
I don't know what they're going for, but yeah, if I was a betting man, and it was within reason, I would try to see however many shares you can get. Um, because Nvidia is just that company. It's
Definitely.
almost on the level of a Starbucks or an
Oh,
Amazon,
definitely.
especially when it comes to the gaming community. So, for you to even get a portion of that, I kind of feel sick because I don't know anything about Stash, and you got something that's something that's a company that I would invest in because I know what Nvidia does and their
Hmm.
graphic cards, and you're talking about PlayStation 5s, you're talking about Mac Minis, MacBooks, you're talking about the newer laptops. You got to have those Nvidia graphics
Yes,
cards.
sir.
So it's definitely a company that's making some major moves. So it's not about necessarily Nvidia. That was just the stock of choice for tonight,
Exactly.
but basically it was the stash party that I think people are trying to understand what is a stash party and how do they get involved with it. So
Yeah, I apologize, folks, for deviating every time we do the show. But I love the fact I see Tammy's chiming in. I believe she is also a user of Stash, so she says she's got you. I will do a tutorial on it, a more righteous tutorial on it as well, and kind of compare again maybe the E Trades, the Fidelities, the Stashes, the Robinhoods, and all of those, and kind of give folks an understanding of how much it costs to subscribe to some of these services, because again you have to pay to get in a lot of times, and then who offers something like this the ability to purchase fractional stocks, because not typical brokerages don't allow you to do that. You have to buy in a lot, and a lot is 200 shares. Not everybody has that amount of liquid capital around to buy a lot of stock every
Now, when
single
you
time.
had the
So
screen up, it said give 20, we give you 20. So did you have to pay $20 to get part of that Nvidia stock for this evening?
no, no. If I shared my link to like you to say check out the Stash platform and you actually signed up, then that's where I would get. It's kind of an affiliate referral type of thing. So I've
Oh,
done
okay, I
that
got
to folks
you.
with
Okay,
yeah. If you signed up, then you could get $20 into your account, and I would get another 20 in mine. So
gotcha. Understood.
yeah,
All right. Well, that was a nice segue. I know that was not what we were. That was not part of the show, but I figured since you talk about these stash parties,
I sure do. I'm terrible. I
I
know.
figured it was about time for you to give everyone a tutorial on what it is that you do, and we may have to find a way to create a segment for the stash stock party, or the James stash stock
Yeah,
party.
because you lose me every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. You lose my
Have to
attention.
come up with a bell or a sound effect or something like that, and that way everybody knows you have 1 hour if you're watching the
Yeah,
show to
yeah,
jump on board. So yeah, okay. Clubhouse is
yeah.
now on Android.
Oh,
So James, you got the wrong thing on the screen. There you go. James gives me a text message on Sunday, Mother's Day, and first I ignore it because I'm like, what is he sending me? But then
what
it
is
says,
he
oh,
sending me?
right, Clubhouse is now on Android. So I
Mm.
click the link, I read the story, and I said, well, let me just see if it'll work. And then somebody was saying that, oh, well, you have to get an invite. It's still in beta. And I just said, let me just see where it's going to go. And I filled out, signed up. I didn't know what to create a bio. You had to do all of this. And they were saying that everything on Android was all the features are not available yet, but just play with it. And when I joined the group at that time, it was so big that they already had two rooms talking about Clubhouse. Will it survive on Android? Is this too much for Clubhouse to open up to Android users? So I'm just listening to what people are saying, and I ended up jumping rooms, and I ended up finding Chris Doe, and he's an engineering expert, and I follow him on YouTube, and I was really impressed with the content. Now, honestly, I'm not an audio consumption type of guy. So I was kind of lost after about 20, 30 minutes because it's like, hey, if I want to say something, I just want to rudely just jump in and say what I want to say. But, you have to respect the room. And for me, Clubhouse seems like it's interesting, especially if you have the right rooms. Before we jumped into this show today, they had a show about how to create an effective podcast, and they were giving out great tips. And you had about 244 members that were in the room. So I can see why the phenomenon and the, the buzz is where it's at. Um, the question is, can you see yourself just sitting there listening to Clubhouse? Because remember, you have your competitors of a Spotify, your titles,
Yep.
your YouTubes. You know, everyone's
Facebooks.
buying for
Yep.
your Facebooks. Everyone's buying for your attention. And so, are you basically? This is another platform. Your TikToks, your Instagram and Snapchats for video form content. This is just another form of content that now I have to find where can I carve out 10, 20 minutes of my time. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose. So for you, it works because you come from that business sector, and you're always listening and trying to find out how you can learn. Um, I think if I do jump on Clubhouse, I'm probably going to end up losing Audible because it's like, hey, I'm getting these
Wow.
books. I'm getting these books and I'm reading the book. But then if you have the author that's right there, or if you have someone and there's 250 people in the room, it's like, hey, I can get access to you right now, as opposed to reading your book. So, I mean, that's just something to think about. And that's just my honest opinion. I have
Yeah.
not seen Clubhouse at its full functionality because remember, it is in beta, but I'm not going to beat the app up. I think it's from what I've seen, I see why the buzz is what the buzz is.
Yeah.
And I think that when people jump on it from the Android perspective, you're going to always have your people that are going to be buzzkills and they're going to mess some stuff up. But I mean, this has been your exclusive app. And everyone that's been on iOS has been talking about this since October, November of 2020. And now you're in 2021, second quarter, and it's still going. Um, I don't know. I just think, like I said, where's the time going to come where I'm going to be listening to audio form content? Will it come in the shower? Will it come in the car? Will it come, me losing Audible? I don't know. That's just something to think about. That's
Interesting.
my thoughts.
Yeah, interesting points, and I think they're relevant points. I don't see this replacing something like an Audible, though, right? Just again from my view and my perspective, there's value in actually reading a book, and or even listening to a book, or and even having maybe the author recite the book to you. So that's a whole different dynamic, and that's a whole different aspect. Clubhouse really is immediate engagement with folks who are focused around a very similar topic and or idea. But one thing interesting that you mentioned, and this is the reason why I still have this graph up, yeah, the fact that Clubhouse has been around on iOS for a number of months, you see that huge spike in terms of installs. That's what it says, installations. But the installs have really dropped down significantly because of something else that you mentioned. You got so much other competition that's coming out. Everyone has saw how successful it was when it first popped up. So now Facebook, Twitter Spaces, TikTok, all these other large organizations are coming out with their own platform as well. And that's already where a lot of the audiences is. So they're going to gravitate to that because they already know Facebook. So I could just hit another button and go into a Facebook audio conversation or whatever the case may be. Being able to have immediate access to, I hate using the word influencers, guys. Being able to have immediate access to key individual subject matter experts, right? So I've been in some rooms on Clubhouse that had Elon Musk in them, that had Steve Ballmer in them, that had why do I think Bill Gates was in one? I can't remember. But so again, I've been in those types of rooms, and every time I log on to, so for the entertainment side, 21 Savage, folks, a lot of people know who he is from a recording and entertainment perspective. He's in there a lot, and he's not just talking about music. He's talking about financial stuff. He's talking about real estate. He's talking about investing, and he's talking about don't go bankrupt out here in these streets, always buying rims and buying jewelry. So there's those types of folks, and you get to have that engagement real time. There is a place for it, but it may be. I don't want to say it's too late, but it sure did take them a long time to launch on Android when now you got all these other folks that are coming with their particular platform. And the fact that it's still in beta and invite only, the only reason you got in is because
You
heck,
sent an
three
invite
weeks
like
ago,
months
yeah,
ago.
I sent you an invite. That's the only reason that you got in. So this whole exclusive nature of this platform, get over yourself. Get over yourself, Clubhouse. Let folks in. You've already done the beta testing. You have. Your framework and your infrastructure is in place. Just open it up. Let folks take advantage of it. If it's good enough, people will continue to use it. People will share it. If it's really good, I'm a proponent. I'm a fan of you get what you pay for. I would be willing to pay for a platform that gave me some positive utility in my life. Now I don't think they're ready for that right now, but take off that beta tag, open it up to folks. I know right now it's only open to people in the U.S. on the Android side, and they're going to eventually start rolling it out across the globe. But again, that's just a deterrent, I think, for consumers by having that closed system right now to where you got
But
folks that.
but in all fairness, because I'm listening to you, and in all fairness, when I went to TechCrunch and when I go to South by Southwest, these new startups, they always get into the app store because it's a one-time fee to get into the Apple App Store, as opposed to going to Android. You
Yeah.
have so many other variables that you have to go through, and it's maybe that fee is a monthly or subscription based fee, whereas I think with Apple it's a one-time fee, so it's easier to get approved through Apple than it is through Android, I would like to say. But I get frustrated because the first thing I say is it available on Android and iOS? And most companies say, no, it's only available on Apple. So, to Clubhouse's defense, you know, a lot of apps start out on Apple and then they eventually come over to Android.
Yeah.
I think once they start getting, the backing, financial backing from company A, company B, or they find some venture capitalists or something like that, and then they can expand out even more. So that's to Clubhouse's defense. But the beta side, like you said, the only reason why I was in was because you sent the invite out to me months ago, and I just was unfortunately what I had that was Apple based was not compatible, and so the invite has just been sitting here. So I've had a chance to play with it, whereas probably others are waiting for their invite
Yeah.
or they're waiting to get in. So
Yeah. I agree with you.
Laura Williams said,
Well, let me comment on. I'll let you go back to what she said before, but
go ahead,
but
go ahead.
when she says Apple wants the best, and I again, I'm an Apple snob, but I almost don't completely agree with that. I think Apple is just that closed ecosystem where everything on an iPhone is supposed to work the exact same way. So it's very structured that every time I can pick up an iPhone 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, any Apple model, and as long as I got this particular operating system, the function is going to be the exact same way. Android being more of an open ecosystem and platform and environment, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get. Right, you got some folks that are running Marshmallow, you got some folks running Oreo, you got some folks running Gingerbread. Not a lot of the majority of Android folks really aren't on the most current release. So that's a challenge for app developers, and that's a challenge for Google in and of itself. So I, so to contradict what you just said, I think Apple is just very
Well, she's
particular.
just an app. She's an Apple lover, just like
And she want
Steve
okay.
Jobs.
She wanted me. She wanted the
Yeah,
family. I
yeah,
ain't mad at it. I ain't mad at it.
she's family. She's not Team Droid the way I
You
am.
ain't
Now,
okay.
I will say this: she said they need sponsorship shows. I don't know what that means, because maybe you could explain that a little bit better. They need sponsorship shows.
Mm. And so Clubhouse needs Clubhouse is, I know, has gone into an agreement. I believe it's with the NFL, and they would be doing something along those routes. Right? So they're going to have a nice stream of revenue coming in when sports start. So there's going to be some exclusivity around some of that capability. Sponsored shows, maybe. I think again having folks with a large following, having someone like so let's go back to Spotify, someone like a Joe Rogan, someone like someone who has a large following from already an audio platform, bringing them in, yeah, that could be exciting as well because those shows that I've gone to where I said Elon Musk and Steve Ballmer on, those were just literally started by folks within their circle that brought them in. They weren't really focused and concerted efforts that were leveraged or sponsored by Clubhouse proper. Those were just folks that Elon
Well,
knew and said, "Come on, Elon, I'm gonna give you an account on Clubhouse and let's talk for 2 hours." So,
well,
I mean,
here,
that's a good point.
well, the show that I came in on today, where they were talking about how to start a podcast,
Hmm.
this young lady, I didn't look at her. I think she had 111,000 followers or something like that on Clubhouse.
Okay.
But she was basically giving out tips on how to have an effective podcast, and she has found a way to. You can set up a Calendly. How do you call it? Calendly.
Calendly, yeah.
Yeah, she set up a Calendly where you can set up or book a session with her and she can help you. She has, I mean, she was really on point with the podcast. And like I said, it was about 225 people in the room. And just to be able to say, I have a question, and she brings you up on the audio, brings you up to the front of the room, you pose your question, and then you have people that can give you either the response that you're looking for, or point you in the right direction. I was really impressed. And then she even said that Headliner was a sponsor of the show. So she was basically saying Headliner, the service that we use to do recaps of the show, she was saying something about you get 2 months for free. And I was like, wow, she was able to negotiate this. Who is she? And then that's what made me go look at her profile to say, how can, I follow her and see what she's all about. Now
Hmm.
that was me saying I wanted to be on on the podcast side. How do you make a better or a more effective podcast? And I think her name was Esprit, two E's, Spra,
Okay.
Ispra
Okay.
or I. I'm not sure,
Okay. Because
but
Crystal was bringing it up and thinking it was someone named Crystal Prophet. So okay.
yeah. So I was really impressed with the platform. So I know we've spent more time than expected on this topic, but I told you I would share my thoughts. We battle all the time, but I mean, we recognize when something is good
Yeah.
needs to be talked about,
Yeah.
and this is definitely one of those times where you told me, "Hey, you need to jump on this. Go find an old Apple product," which I did. It wasn't compatible. So you can't say I did not put forth any effort. But when it became available, because we were talking about Twitter Spaces,
Hmm.
and we were saying I'm going to jump on Twitter Spaces before I jump on Clubhouse, and then sure enough, Mother's Day, Clubhouse was available on Android, and I got on Android. I got on Clubhouse before I got on Twitter Spaces.
Yeah. I've only done one Twitter Space session. Shout out to Miss Eileen Smith. She is huge on social media, and I think a lot of folks probably know her from her YouTube channel and all the things that she does. She got me turned on to it. But
Is that the Haps lady?
yeah, she does haps. She does Anchor.
What up, Eileen?
Yeah, she.
I've seen your work, Eileen. Eileen, when you come back and watch this podcast, when you come watch our blog or our text show, Eileen, I see you. James likes to pick your brain and says, "Hey,
Yes,
I would like to share this for the audience, but I'm selfish because I need to take some of your tips too."
I ain't
So
mad at you. I ain't mad
that's
at you.
Eileen. Y'all need to check out Eileen Smith. So Eileen, I'm paying attention.
Look at you, paying. You a good man. It's a good man to pay attention. Shouts out
You
and
didn't even
appreciate y'all too for.
you didn't even know that I was what. See, you
I
never know who's watching you.
I
You
didn't
never
know.
know.
I didn't know. You up on it, brother. You up on it. Loving the comments, loving the engagement and the interaction, folks. I'm looking at some metrics here, just on my side eye here. We got folks in the room, so we are doing.
Laura Williams, I gotta give you a shout out because you really are in these comments. Like you
She out
really
here in these streets, right?
yeah, Laura's in these comments like for real, for real. I said I will shout you out if you come in and say hello. Give me 10 minutes. That's all I ask for. I will shout you. Laura has given us more than 10 minutes. She gave more minutes than hit the spot 10:06.
Oh,
So
see, oh, there you go. Don't
hey, but I'm
start.
just saying, I'm giving credit where credit is due. So Laura Williams, I salute you.
Stalker, I love it. That's good stuff.
James Stalker. That's funny, man.
So those were the stories that we had pre-programmed and that we really wanted to go deep into. We got two more, but I'm gonna let you choose because one of them I think again from a consumer perspective and a shopping perspective matters. I know I'm already preparing for it myself, but uh, I'll let you decide where we go, brother.
I want to end on a high note, so we'll go with the other story.
Okay, okay,
Because I know last week we talked about Florida and their bill that they were proposing. I think it was SB 7272. Don't quote me on the bill,
yeah,
but that bill was basically saying that they were going to fine social media companies if you boycott or if you ban politicians.
hmm
And we were like, well, we're really not going to get into political, go down the political field. But here's another story where Facebook has been urged by state attorneys, the attorney generals, excuse me, over 40 state attorney generals have signed on to scrap kids' Instagram project. So I know I butchered that whole title and all that, but Facebook has been told by state attorney generals to scrap the Instagram account. That's what I was trying to say. And basically, a lot of state attorney generals have said, don't do this. Just don't do it. Anybody, any kid under 13, don't do it. Um, the signees of the 40 state attorney generals basically said that using social media could be detrimental to children's health and well-being, especially if they are not prepared to navigate the accompanying challenges. The letter also noted that social media sites exploit users' fear of missing out and can lead to body dissatisfaction as well as low self esteem. In addition, the Attorney General said that the children don't have a developed understanding of privacy, which could cause future problems related to permanency of the internet. So I hear what they're saying, James,
Yeah.
and I don't know how you feel about this, but the fear of missing out, wanting to be involved, kids want to be grown. Um, it's really up to the parents to manage, your kids or your child's social media. And so they have a point,
Yeah.
but I think at some point you have to say, why are you trying to scrap or tell Instagram what the family can and cannot do? I think that's the part that worries me.
Okay. And I hear you. And again, I like both sides of a story. And I'm going to take this to Laura's statement and say she comes here for the backstory and for a whole different perspective because that's what we do. I do not trust Facebook. I do not trust Mark Zuckerberg with hardly any private information. And Instagram is part of Facebook. So me making that statement will never get sponsored by Facebook/Instagram. But they don't have a good track record of protecting their users, right? So much has happened over the past year, 4 or 5 years, right? When 44 was in office, and Facebook wishy washy and going back and forth with what they're going to post and how they're going to post stuff and what they'll
You
allow
mean
on the platform.
45?
I'm sorry, what?
You mean 45?
No, 44, the one before.
Okay, okay,
The dude that's not in office right now,
okay,
whatever his number is. I don't say his name. So
okay. Well, we're not gonna get on him, so go back to your
right,
point.
but again, so ever since then, and ever since the controversy with the last president of the United States, I really have questions about Facebook's motives in terms of really caring for and protecting the users of their platform. It's all about advertising revenue. It's all about the dollar. It's not really. It doesn't seem to really be a concerted effort to look after the well-being and the welfare of their users. Now, talking about opening up a whole nother platform for our youth, 13 years old, 12 years old, 11 years old folks actually on social media. I'm even apprehensive to look at something like a YouTube TV, YouTube for kids. So I don't, right? These social platforms trying to parent for us, I have concerns with that, and I really have doubts with that Zuckerberg and his folks that run Facebook can actually effectively build a platform that's geared and protects our youth who are, again, at those impressionable age. Look, I got two teenagers, so I've been through the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs. But again, teens, preteens, when they're having issues at school, they're having issues with, again, identity conversations, there's bullying, when there's peer pressure, all of that, and to have an instant we see the stuff that's on Instagram right now. We see the stuff that's on Facebook that gets through all of their algorithms and all of their people that are supposedly watching the platform, looking out for our interests. Man, no, no.
But here's my thing: if a kid wants to get on the app, all they got to do is just type in 18 years, what's the
Yeah.
year of the birthday, and then basically create the account. So at the end of the day, it falls on the parent to monitor because parents are giving kids phones And when you're giving them phones, you don't know what they're doing with that phone when you're not in their presence. So they have vanish apps to where you can hide stuff from the parents. You can take separate messaging systems from, from the actual phone. They have ghost Instagram accounts. They
Yeah.
have ghost. I mean, so at the end of the day, you're telling Facebook not to do this. Kids are going to do what they want to do.
Yeah.
The
No, I
parent,
agree.
it's up to the parents. I mean, I know parents that they don't like some of the decisions that their kids make as far as their lifestyle, and even though they don't agree with it, it's like you still have to receive it. But then it's like I'm still the adult. And then, when you have kids that are doing provocative dances, you have kids dressing of the opposite gender, when you have kids, acting out or showcasing fights. I
Hmm.
mean, at least the YouTube, Facebook, and the Instagram for kids is going to filter all of that type of content out to where you're saying, hey, to someone that lives in a nice home that has a two-parent household or has some type of family structure, you have, how do I say this? You have someone that's monitoring that child. But what about that parent that's not monitoring their kid, or that's not monitoring
Mm.
their cell phone or their computer usage? That's where the problem really lies in. So it's not necessarily the company that you should be looking at. You should be looking at the parent. So my thing is, let the parents make that decision and say whether this is appropriate or not, as opposed to you telling the company don't create it, scrap it, because YouTube has already done it, Facebook has already done it. I mean, Snapchat is definitely, even though it's
Yeah.
not, it's 13 and older, there's kids on Snapchat. I mean, and Snapchat was created, let's be honest, Snapchat was created because the kids were not trying to show their parents what they were doing, so it only lasted 15 seconds and then it was gone.
Yeah.
So it was, let's be honest. So these apps are already here. So for the government or politics to get involved with this is really not their lane. That's just my opinion.
There you go. Multiple sides of this coin, and I love having the conversation. Again, I agree with you about kids being different, and kids and parents need to parent, right? Obviously, that's first and foremost. I, I take it back to the corporate side, to the business side. I just do not have faith in the man running Facebook, running WhatsApp,
That's fair.
running Instagram, running
It's
all
all
of these properties that
it's all
every
money for them. So
it
let's just
is.
be honest.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
all money. It's all money for anybody that runs, well, Google. It's money for them for YouTube. It's money. Look at the story we just talked about earlier. Google is not playing fair with Roku. It's money.
Yeah,
Zuckerberg, it's money.
yeah,
And three of the four stories that we talked about today is about Facebook, or it has some type of Facebook tie
yeah.
to what we're talking about tonight. So at the end of the day, it's all about that almighty dollar. So whether the kid gets on it or not, they're going to run ads, and it's going to continue to make their company filthy rich.
Yeah.
Now, until you say I'm not going to support this brand, or until you say I'm not going to support this app, which I just don't think, when they allow Facebook to get integrated into our lives. I mean, I know people that literally say, I don't even watch TV. I'm on Facebook all day. So when you have something like that, I mean, this is where you have to have self-discipline yourself. And when you have the self-discipline, I mean, I don't think it's the attorney general or a politician that should tell me, how I'm supposed to parent or, raise my kid. That's just my personal opinion.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
All right, so I did not want to end the show on that note, so uh, I really didn't. But I think we can end on a positive note. But the only bad thing is, it is a positive note. But the
It is
question is, are
positive.
you going to spend money?
Are
The
you going to
question is,
spend? Come on now. You before you even bring it up, you know that we're gonna spend some. We're gonna find a way to spend some money here for
I
this
think
next.
I'm gonna limit myself
No, you're
because
not. Don't
let's
stop
be
less.
no, let's be
Stop less.
honest. Because last year's Amazon Prime Day was boo boo. Let's just call it what it is. It was straight garbage, trash, or any other synonym that you can find. There was nothing on there, and everybody was talking about, oh, you can find the great deals. There was no deals on Amazon Prime Day 2020. There was nothing there. Let's just be honest. But they're saying next month
Next month.
will be Amazon Prime Day, and they're thinking it might be around Father's Day, but it's not necessarily, etched in stone. And if you don't know what Amazon Prime Day is, it's supposed to be the summertime version of Black Friday for Amazon. And this
Yeah.
is where they get rid of their products or whatever's in their warehouse, and they say we're going to deeply discount products. But what I found over the last 3 or 4 years when they've done these Amazon Prime Days, they've deeply discounted their Amazon products, other thing, not other things. So I mean, if you're looking for an Echo, if you're looking for a Fire Stick, any type of Amazon cables or anything like that, stuff like that, yeah. But as far as Apple watches and headphones that are not Apple products, they're probably going to be $5 off, if that. So I just don't see what you will be seeing. Now, will I look? Yes, but
Oh, you
do I
gonna look?
see?
Yeah, you definitely gonna look.
Will I see deeply discounted days? I mean, I remember renewing my Amazon Prime account one year because I was like, "Oh, Amazon Prime Day is going to be here." I went out and bought a couple $100 worth of gift cards, and I
Hmm.
didn't even use those gift cards. I was not a happy camper. So, I mean, I just think that Amazon Prime Day will be good. It's definitely going to have the world's attention. And let's just be honest. The COVID-19 has hurt big box retailers and made online shopping the number one place to go. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
feeling when you
Yeah.
know that you have a package that comes to your house. You didn't have to leave, and all you have to do is assemble it or take it out the box. And if you don't like it, you have 60 days most of the time to take it back. Not even the 30 days. You have 60 days to take it back. And I think it was 3 months around the holiday season that you could take it back. So you get to play with it for 90 days or 60 days. And then, if you don't like it, you send
Send
it
it
back.
back. Send it back. Get a full refund.
And it comes to your door. You didn't even have to
Oh,
leave your house. All you needed was a credit card.
too easy.
So, um, so it hurts the big box retailers
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
remember, urban sprawl happened when I was in
Mm.
college, where those small business owners who were really the heart of America, they got shut down by Walmart, and Walmart integrated themselves into the rural towns of America. And basically those small business owners had to shut down, and they said, "Oh, we're not taking away jobs." Well, they did, and they
Yeah.
made that 60, 70-year-old lady or family or that husband, they are now the greeters at Walmart
Yeah.
making 7, 8, $9 an hour, whereas they were able to make their own income. But now, fast forward 20 years later, because that was around 1999 to 2002, when Walmart was starting to make a major presence. But now, look at 2020, 2021, Amazon, 20 years, Shift has come in, and look at what has happened.
Yeah.
Those big box retailers, they're now struggling.
Yep.
They're not
Half of them
able to
aren't
keep
even
their
around
doors
anymore.
open.
Right.
Yep, they're not. I remember going into a store. I'm not going to name the store, but I was like, hey, you know what? I need some help. The guy told me, you didn't buy the product here. You bought it online, so we can't help you. And I said, oh, okay, no problem. You'll be closed in 2 or 3 months. Sure enough, company was closed in 2 or 3 months. messed up, but I mean, but he had a valid point, and it was like, but you guys are expensive, and I was able to get the same product, online. Why are
Mm-hmm.
you beating me up if I'm asking you to be my tech support?
Yeah.
He had a valid point, but at the same token, I mean, it was cheaper somewhere else. And you're going to go for most people are going to look at price. They're not going to look at, the service and the quality. It's the same product.
Mm-hmm.
Publix or Kroger. Powerade is 89 cent at Kroger, and it's the same jar, it's the same fluid ounces, and you're going to charge me $1.25.
Yeah.
Which one you think I'm going to go to?
Yeah.
Most people are going to go with the cheaper brand.
Yeah.
But if you want the bright lights and the clean store, you're going to go and pay that extra 20 or 30 cents to keep the lights on. Most people are at Amazon for a reason. They want something that can be delivered in 2 days.
Yeah.
It's the same product, and it's it's ease of comfortability.
That's a new word. I like that. I won't ask you how to spell that because I don't. I won't even know how to spell that. But hey, I agree, brother. Look,
Comfortability.
comfortability. I will. I've got my wish list for Amazon built. I didn't buy a lot last Prime Day either, to be honest with you, because I don't need any more. Hold on, she's not in here. Is it Alexis? I don't want to. I don't want to kick her off. Echo smart speakers, Kindle e-readers, Ring. I got a lot of Ring stuff around the house, so I may get some more Ring stuff, the security devices, but not really a lot of Amazon proper stuff, right? If they've got other items, because so we're looking at different types of things too when we go to Amazon, right? We're looking at stream decks and camera lenses and mounting brackets and lights and so we're looking at something that's totally different than I think the average everyday consumer is looking at from an Amazon perspective. So it's good for the consumer and it's good for economics because with the pandemic and with the lockdown, folks have hopefully saved some money that they did use maybe when they were traveling. And now this could be a good boost to the economy by having Prime Day earlier, allowing folks to spend some of that available cash that they may have had and get those Christmas gifts earlier while they're on sale as opposed to waiting until the end of the year or whatever the case may be. So I think it's a good thing. I agree with you as well. I was just being funny and facetious. I don't think I'm going to spend a whole lot on it. But, you know, people like you and I, the content creation world, we can always use a couple more HDMI cables or a couple of more USB-C adapters or whatever. I may spend a handful of dollars, but I'm not gonna go crazy or anything. So
Yeah, I just think that, I think that buzz was there, and I just think that that buzz is now gone.
yeah,
Remember, Amazon Prime Day normally runs that first week of July, second week of July, and
yeah,
now you're bumping it up a month. I mean, so the question is, why are you bringing the sales up?
yeah.
Back to school. I mean, excuse me, end of school, Father's Day weekend, graduations. Like, why for the month of June as opposed to the month of July?
That's a good question.
Remember,
Yeah,
July is the start. Well, you're in the heart of the summer, and there's really nothing going on that Fourth of July weekend. Yeah, you know what? I have more time to play, but graduation, Father's Day, end of school. I just find it hard. I don't know. That's just my personal take.
it's all good. I think you're hitting the nail on the head. So,
Stop spending that money, man. Start investing in
man,
that.
I don't have no
And
money to
what do you
spend.
call it? The stash parties.
Yeah.
So it's like start shifting somewhere else. So you got to start shifting that money elsewhere. Stop, being hoarders of stuff that and even I have to stop doing it. But we talked about subscriptions and saying how we were going to go away from subscriptions, and now we have to start telling Amazon no. So it's hard.
I'm gonna need a little bit more willpower, so I may need an intervention before I can tell Mr. Amazon no. But we'll see what we can do.
Let me call the missus. Maybe
No,
the
she the
missus.
look. She the one. Look, all right. I got more shipments from Amazon for her. Man, don't. Let's not go down that path, brother. We didn't already had a conversation. Yeah, bless her. I love her. Oh, I love her. But
Uh, yeah, you better say that on camera.
on camera,
But
recorded too.
anyway, shout out to Jen.
Yeah, shout out for keeping me right. Keeping me right. Folks, we did it tonight. I think we did what we needed to do.
Please follow us on all social channels. The Lab Tech Show. The Lab Tech Show. Whether you're on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, we will start posting, or yeah, we will do a better job of posting content on these platforms as opposed to our personal pages.
Yeah, yeah. You all right? You feel confident with the product that we putting out? Yeah, we really started to solidify and put some framework around the entrepreneurial effort. It's more than a hobby now, right? We really putting a lot of skin in the game, and we're talking to a lot of the right folks, and especially the people that are coming to the show and commenting and engaging. Um, I got number two thumbs up for him, and I think there's always tweaks that we can continue to do, but this is definitely we definitely on the right track.
I want for the ones who are watching this show or if they're watching the replay, I want you to know that when James and I came with this um, idea of doing a tech show, we wanted to create content that was exposing or not exposing in a negative way, but we wanted to highlight and expose some of the stories that you may have missed in the tech community for that week. And every week, there's always something that's going on that you may have missed because it's not on the front page of the newspaper, it's not on the top story in the on TV, and it's not on CNN. But you need to know these stories that we're talking about because you spend the money. And if you're spending the money, why are you not understanding? And I think when we came with this show, it was let's highlight not only, startups or highlight certain brands that we believe in, but let's share the news that's going on in the tech community. And for me, I think that we've been doing a solid job with that. And it's not a lot of stories. We only talk about four or five, but these are the four or five that are best for us, that we think from a consumer perspective you would appreciate. And I hope that you guys will continue to watch and share the show and follow us on all social channels to be able to get that news. That's it.
With that, I got nothing else to say, bruh. Appreciate you. We the lab. We out. There it is.